Be around the light bringers, the magic makers, the world shifters, the game shakers. They challenge you, break you open, uplift and expand you. They don't let you play small with your life. These heartbeats are your people. These people are your tribe. Welcome everybody to the 35th annual celebration and Gala Awards program with the Inside Edge. We're so glad you're here. Can everybody clap and do thumbs up and just, yes, it's going to be an awesome, awesome evening. We're yeah, let's unmute for a moment. Everybody unmute and just let's hear it. Go ahead.
All right.
Yay. Awesome.
Yay, hoorah.
Yes. Yes. Okay, time to mute again. Time to mute again. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Adam Chrsiting, and I am so honored to be the host of this incredible celebration. And I want to let you know it's not a one-way thing. Just like Inside Edge is about networking and sharing and community. All throughout the evening, we invite you to chat and participate. Buckle up. It's going to be a night you won't soon forget. Well, you might think this is one of those pocket handkerchiefs, but these are actually two hearts. And I want to show you something kind of cool. Now, we can't be together right now physically, but we're together through virtual and we're together spiritually and emotionally. So if I take this heart like this, I might feel kind of disconnected from other hearts, but I want to show you something really amazing. Through the magic of the Inside Edge, we are together for the magic of transformation. I know you're clapping in your heart. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. I want to let you know that I have been impacted by the Inside Edge before I even knew what the Inside Edge was. I was impacted by the books and the speakers and the spiritual leaders and the business gurus, and I didn't even know it. And a couple of years ago, I discovered the Inside Edge, and it truly transformed my life and my heart. I really mean that. And getting to know some of you has been one of the great blessings in my life. You know, some people talk about transformation. It's kind of a buzzword, change. This will change your life. That'll change your life. The Inside Edge really does transform people's lives. One morning, I got up really early to catch a flight at LAX. I'm in the comedy and magic and MC business. And my youngest daughter, Katie, was up at 5:30 in the morning, which is really unusual. And I said, honey, what are you doing? She was making some kind of breakfast at 5:30. And I said, honey, what are you making? And my little daughter said, history. And I love that. Isn't that great? You are history makers. And tonight we're going to celebrate history and we're going to take a peek into the future. And we're going to have a wonderful time together. So again, I invite your participation. Anytime throughout the evening, you can chat and share, and we'll do our best to include as many of you as we can in our dialogue. Right now, it's time to introduce our current president. She is a wonderful leader for us at the Inside Edge. She's been a member since 1996. She holds a master's degree in organizational leadership. Join me and put your hands together. Let's welcome Robin Mullin.
All right, Robin. Yeah.
Thank you for that introduction, Adam. That was very sweet. And I am really joyful about finally being to this day. This has been a day, many months in the making. And I want to welcome everyone who's here on behalf of the whole Inside Edge board and all of our members. We have people who have helped build our past, people who have worked hard in our present membership, and then we have people who are here that might be helping us build our future too. So welcome to all of you new people to the Edge as well. And we hope you'll get a really wonderful overview of what we have to offer, and you'll feel joyful, enriched, and enlivened from our experience tonight. So my role now is just to introduce to you my dear friend and amazing, amazing woman who was a co-founder of the Inside Edge, and to this day is very involved as our program director. That's her way back at the beginning, Diana von Wentworth. She's going to be co-hosting along with Adam, and I just want to acknowledge what an amazing contribution she has made to our organization And I hope you will help me in giving her a very, very warm welcome by the reaction buttons probably would be great. So Diana, it's to you.
I have to unmute myself. Wow. I'm echoing even, I can hear that. I am so excited. And first of all, the first thing I want to do is to acknowledge Robin. Robin has been the most visionary leader over the past year and a half, and her deep dedication and her organizational skills. Robin truly deserves full credit for producing this gala. This is going to be the most amazing thing. As Robin mentioned, our purpose here this evening is to honor and spotlight the most outstanding participants and speakers of 2020, and we're going to do that very shortly. Robin asked me originally, Diana, what do you want this 35th anniversary to be? And we've all learned, right, that it's really important to know what we want. And I thought, I want this celebration to be a super spreader of remembrance and reconnection, honoring the founding energy that came forward. And so we proceeded with just months of planning. But something happened this morning that has only happened to me once before. On waking, I simply knew that the words that I was planning to speak for this event weren't right. That rather glib script needed to be thrown out. And I was sensing an opportunity to speak words that would be much deeper than I'd ever spoken before. So this feeling that I had this morning that I simply couldn't say what the glib words that perhaps would be repetitive of something I've always said before was not a familiar feeling. And because of that, I'm feeling a bit raw and vulnerable as I address you this evening. But what feels really apparent is that something completely new is emerging, is crowning and entering the birth canal with this event. And so new wording is so necessary. And with your permission, we'll focus on the history for just about 15 minutes before we get to the awards that are so special to everybody tonight. The Inside Edge was born, as most truly important things are, out of a dark night of the soul. Let's step back into the year 1985. It was the height of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were both building up nuclear arms and were not communicating diplomatically. The whole world was on edge. In some ways, the whole world is on edge right now, too. There's a similar feeling, except that it's a whole different cause right now. And at the same time, my husband, Paul von Welantz, and I had reached a dead end in our career. Our television show had ended, what we'd been doing, cooking, entertaining, writing cookbooks, having a cooking school, traveling, and being sort of exactly like Martha Stewart in those days, that seemed to have no relevance at all. It felt awful. It felt absolutely terrifying. And it stayed scary, even though we knew that on the highest level, that true growth would surely be born out of that discomfort. We don't grow when we're on a cruise ship, right? We grow when the world seems to be impossible and we can't figure our way through it. But that is when real greatness is born inside of us. So I heard a quote at that time. It was by Friedrich Nietzsche. And it was, "One must hold chaos within to give birth to a dancing star." And that really spoke to me. Chaos within was what we were feeling, and a dancing star sounded absolutely wonderful. Nevertheless, we were just operating in a void. Shortly before that, my husband, Paul von Welantz, and I were at home, and we were in the living room, actually, of Candace Wheeler. And Candace led a small group of us in a guided meditation with the purpose of experiencing and connecting with our true purpose, our very essence. And what followed was a profound inward journey. And it was a moment of epiphany in which I found myself in a very high place, embedded in light. The words, "be a beacon," vibrated through me. Be a beacon, be a beacon. And the energy that came with that was so high that Paul and I discussed that experience over and over again. We both sensed there was a calling there to follow and explore what that vision could become. What is a beacon, we asked ourselves? How could we do this? We were clear it wasn't about us and our egos, and still we sensed that our job was going to be to birth something, to establish some entity, some place that would become a beacon. The Inside Edge would become that beacon. As Tom Sewell will share with you in a few minutes, we would take a highly confrontational trip into the Soviet Union. And one day after returning from that trip, we got an answer to our question, what is a beacon? What does a beacon do? A beacon beckons, a beacon illuminates. Then suddenly it dawned on us. We'd met so many visionary leaders of human potential. We discovered so much new helpful information. We met light workers, and these light workers needed to congregate. Their information needed to be presented. We thought, we can do that. We can use our hosting skills to create that place. Paul and I knew we were just simply the midwives of it. Our job was to create a place and hold the space that would attract and broadcast life-enhancing information, and to be a place, a sort of playground where people could be inspired and empowered. On the opening morning, 6 charismatic people stood at a microphone in Chef Roy Yamaguchi's very first restaurant called 385 North to speak to about 60 people who came that morning to be inspired. And they wanted to ask a question. These people, Jack, Barbara, and so on, asked, what if we were to meet every Tuesday morning at 6:30 a.m.? What could this gathering become? So I will partially answer that question by spotlighting a few originators in memoriam who are no longer with us and without whom the Inside Edge simply would not exist. So the first person I want to spotlight is Paul von Welantz. Paul and I married in 1963. In our first 20 years, we built a career together as early celebrity chefs. Our first book, The Pleasure of Your Company, won the prestigious Cookbook of the Year award in the category of entertaining in 1976. And 5 more books followed, along with a cooking school on Sunset Boulevard, followed by our own television series. And we were always a team. We often traveled to teach classes in department stores and were set up with a traveling sound system that Paul created and managed. So without that skill, the Inside Edge could not have been born. Those who knew Paul loved and remember him as a true gentleman, an artist, a strong, rather silent man who loved sailing. His preference for staying behind the scenes and setting up rooms for meetings made our leap into an entirely new Inside Edge career possible. Paul and I still used our cooking skills to host seasonal parties with a purpose. And here you see Paul and Lexi next to a tree that was decorated by Inside Edge members at our holiday vision party, where each member shared their vision of what the next year could become. Our daughter Lexi, who's also here tonight, during her college years worked for the Inside Edge, and she's with us today. Our meetings were then held at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and chapters had been thriving in Orange County on Wednesday mornings and San Diego on Thursdays. It was the most joyful and rewarding work we'd ever done. Then without any warning in 1988, 4 years into the success of the Inside Edge, and a few days after our 25th anniversary, Paul was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He died only 4 months later. Near the end, he told me, "I don't want you to be alone. Send me someone," I implored. He did. He chose well. And I've been married to Ted Wentworth for 31 years now, and Ted has been my soul's companion and my safe harbor every day since. So we're going to show a picture now of a woman that the Inside Edge, she absolutely did create the Inside Edge. Her name is Rama Vernon. Truly, the Inside Edge would never have come into existence without Rama. So many memories of and gratitude for her have been flowing through me, especially since the news of her passing just a few weeks ago. My heart is overflowing with gratitude for the profound effect Rama had on Paul's and my life path together, how she changed the course of it completely, and she would change the life path of so many others. We met Rama in May of 1985 when we joined a group of 80 and traveled with her into the Soviet Union. I laugh at myself now when I remember how on first meeting her, I felt very suspicious. She was way too beautiful, too wise, too expansive to be real, I would learn that I would never meet anyone more real than Rama. She was a radiant fountain of light and beneficence, and I just watched her wistfully. Our travel into the Soviet Union was unprecedented, the first group of its kind. Our purpose on that pioneering trip was to film a documentary of citizen diplomats, including peace activists, leaders of human potential, such as Swami Satchidananda, actors Dennis Weaver and Mike Farrell, Dr. Patch Adams, author Alan Cohen, Patricia Sun, and futurist Barbara Marx Hubbard, to open an ongoing dialogue of peace between Russia and the United States. We were citizen diplomats. The leaders often reminded us on that trip that the world was in crisis and that the Chinese ideogram for crisis is a combination of two other ideograms, danger and opportunity. We all felt we were living on the brink then. Rama would go on to lead 56 more trips into the Soviet Union and similar trips into the Middle East, encouraging divisive groups to go deeply and to listen to each other. When the Inside Edge began, other light workers just simply began to show up. So the next picture is of Dr. Peggy Bassett. She was the minister of the Church of Religious Science in Huntington Beach. She was brought to us by Mark Victor Hansen, who would soon enjoy his own huge success. And she quickly claimed the Orange County chapter of the Inside Edge as her very own playground. And in her sermons, she invited her own tribe to join as well, which filled the Orange County chapter really quickly. Visionary and charismatic people just kept showing up at the Inside Edge without advertising and only through word of mouth. Louise Hay showed up. We have a picture of Louise. Showed up at the Beverly Hills chapter in its earliest days. She then had only just a tiny self-published booklet titled Heal Your Life. She would write many more books and build her own enduring publishing empire. And the next person is Dr. Susan Jeffers. Early Edge members all considered Susan our most outstanding, fun success story. Susan and her husband, Mark Shalmerdine, joined at the very beginning. And Mark founded the Film Edge that hosted transformational films at Paramount Studios that we got to go to, and we supplied the popcorn. Paul and I still enjoyed giving parties and hosted several parties with a purpose. And one of these parties was futuristic, and members were invited to show up to a party we called Come As You Will Be. We invited members to show up as who they would be in 5 years. And we told them they would need to stay in that future character all evening and share with everyone how they had gotten where they had arrived. Susan went all out, arrived at the party in formal attire, and carried 3 mock books. She told us all seriously that she had just returned from her third New York Times bestseller tour. She achieved that 5-year goal, beginning with her international bestseller, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So those are a few of our departed members. And now I want to welcome somebody who is still very much alive and very crazy and wonderful, just as he always was. And that is Tom Sewell. On that evening in Candace's home was probably the very first time that Paul and I met Tom Sewell. He raved about an early morning meeting at 6 to 8 in the morning every day called Impact that had a purpose of transforming the entertainment industry. Paul and I were intrigued, and Tom literally dragged us there. We found ourselves completely caught up in it and its crazy early morning hours. Through Impact, we were invited to join a group of 80 traveling into the Soviet Union for the purpose of making a documentary. Tom is an internationally acclaimed artist and photographer who archived that life-changing adventure and who became one of the most enthusiastic members of the Inside Edge. So he has some words and a video to share with us.
Thank you, Diana. That truly was an amazing experience in Russia. It was transformational for me and for all of us on the group. Deeply emotional experience. A lot of crying, a lot of laughing, and we realized that we could truly make a difference by going over as citizen diplomats. And coming back from Russia and watching you and Paul create the Inside Edge was a true amazing event for me. And I used to love to bring my Studebaker from Venice full of guests to the Inside Edge. And I have a little short film, a little 3-minute film I'd like to show you.
Our own well-being depends upon the well-being of the whole.
And that the beginning of health is with the activation of feelings of love.
And what I'm trying to do is just make people passionate again.
He then has to take responsibility.
They have the courage to cross those barbed wire borders.
And you're a part of a group that takes that all the way to the level of being leaders.
Is that my agent is God.
And the concept of working from essence.
This notion that there's one God, and that one God is our God.
Investigation of meditation.
Change the kind of medical care that you can get.
Smell the roses along the way. And I'm putting more and more energy into trying to be who I'm not.
Good morning! Woo!
You're totally grown. You did it all.
I just got back from the Soviet Union, and the announcement is there is no enemy.
Life is an evolutionary experience.
The nice thing about growing older is that you can actually look back on your life.
This guy's doing what I do, and he does it better than I'm doing it.
If the inside edge is going to be what it can be for everybody, it needs to be financially grounded. It needs to be able to spread across the United States.
What does your subconscious figure out?
That this body is who you are.
You folks live in a place of power.
We can see who we really are.
And I guess the things that you teach are the things that you most need to learn.
I think the reason why they're respecting us is because we're basically the only ones still standing.
So that you can see the old way of getting what you want doesn't work any longer.
Instead of slugging each other like you hate each other, you know what they do? Unite! You're not going to believe this! They actually hug one another. Get out, man!
That's great.
Tom, that is so great.
I'm sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in my studio in Maui, and I have an archive with hundreds of thousands of images and videos. It was so fun to put that together, to look at all those great speakers and all the people that we met, and it's been so inspiring for me. It's also fun to, Diana, to watch and see all your great outfits that you wore every week.
It was the 80s. We had shoulder pads and big earrings and huge hair. Oh, Tom, thank you so much for all your contributions to my life. You've been a huge, huge influence. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, and you to me.
Thank you. And now I want to welcome someone else, another man who was really a founding energy of the Inside Edge, and that is Tim Piering. We met him at Impact. He was so revered there that people would stand in line just to talk to him. And he just had a way of seeing the future, seeing your highest self. He was just an amazing human being. And when Paul and I decided that the Inside Edge, we didn't even have a name for it. We invited Tim over, and he was sitting at the table with my best friend, Mary Olson Kelly, and we were thinking of a name. And Tim wrote the invitation for the first Inside Edge. It had to go out by snail mail to about 70 people. And I can't tell you what a huge influence he's been on me and in the creation of the Inside Edge. So Tim Piering, where are you? And turn on your mic.
Thank you, Diana. Carlos Castaneda wrote a teaching of Don Juan. a way of knowledge. And in it, I was reading the books. He said, there's this, every now and then there's a square centimeter of chance that floats by. If you grab it, you will be launched to a whole nother reality. If you don't, it'll float by and never be back again. That's that one chance. And for me, the Inside Edge was that. I have gained so much, and I just loved it. It was so new, so wonderful, and you know, and I got to meet great people. Became friends with Jack Canfield and Barbara Angelis, and Susan Jeffers, and just so many. It's just wonderful. Michael Coleman, and we had 3 chapters at the time, and Paul would go to the chapters and set up all the sound equipment, and really was kind of the backbone at the time. And I was with Diane and Paul through the entire time. Unfortunately, Paul died, and rather quickly. And there was Diana just sitting there. And I thought, okay, I got to help some way. And I thought, she's just too perfect. She dresses too perfect. She looks too perfect. And so I took her out to the gym to lift weights.
And he messed me up.
and we did rappelling off of bridges.
Yes.
So I've been a happy contributor for all those years. And I know awards are going out to the people today. The award should go to Diana for creating a space for all of us to flourish. She held the space, she held the context. And she's gracious, she's beautiful, she's visionary, just fantastic. And most of all, she's a wonderful, great partner.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Tim. You've just been a huge influence. Yes, you took me to firing ranges and tested me in all sorts of crazy ways. I've never forgotten how you made me go over the bridge on a rope to the bottom of the canyon, terrified, squeaking like a sheep. But it was hugely important for me to do that, and you helped me so much. And gosh, what a wonderful, there've been a lot of lighthouse keepers, none more important than Robin Mullin, who is the lighthouse keeper of what the Inside has become as a beacon in the world. And Tim, you've just been such a lighthouse keeper for me as well. It's just beautiful. Okay, so now I get to do something really exciting. I get to present somebody I revere with all my heart with a Lifetime Achievement Award. And this is to one of our original members, Jack Canfield. And thanks to Tim, Jack Canfield, here's Jack's award. You can see this, how beautiful this is. He deserves so much more. Thanks to Jack, he was not only present at the very first meeting on a Tuesday morning in October 1985, he helped pose the question, what if? He'd been devoted to teaching and promoting self-esteem in the schools. He had not yet written even the first of his hundreds of books. And even though his name has now become a household word, his energy then was absolutely just the same as it is now. He just showed up. He was so clear, so helpful, somebody who was just there to support and guide people. And during the first year, he showed up as the speaker and brought with him a box of velvet hearts. I'm going to hold this up. Can you see this? This velvet heart, he handed these out and he divided us into groups of 3. And he told us to start with one person. That person would speak from their heart, from their very deepest place. And then when they were done, they would pass the heart on to the next person. And I remember that as one of the very first community building breakthroughs that we really had at the Inside Edge. And I implored him to get me some of those hearts. So in case we ever had a speaker not show up, that would be the process that we would use to keep our group moving forward in the morning. So Jack, I can't thank you enough for everything that you have brought to all of us and to my own life as the first co-author in the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and to the Inside Edge over all these many years. So I turn it over to you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I am so honored. I don't think I've ever received a Lifetime Achievement Award. Kind of makes you feel old, like, is your life work coming to an end? I don't think it is. I'm 76, but I've planned to be around to past 100. I was in a workshop once where we had to decide how old we were going to be when we died, and I decided 105. So doing all the right things, I think, to make that happen. So again, just thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate the award. I wanted to take a time in my little reception speech here, if I can, to just talk about some of the value I received from the Inside Edge, and also unpack a little of the history as we've been doing as well. I remember sitting in your living room, Diana, with Paul and a few other people, Tim Piering, I think Tom Sewell was there back in 85, 86. Should we do this? And it was absolutely, we should. And this question of what if, I like to live my life by what if we could do it? Instead of like, can we or can't we? Well, what if we could? What if we could? What would we do? And so literally getting up every morning at 4:30, and I'm a night person, I'm a night owl, not a morning person, but it was totally worth it. And I remember a few years after we started, the LA Times called it the Breakfast Club for New Age thinkers. And and I love Tom Sewell, those pictures of all the different people, Barbara Marx Hubbard, and we have Patricia's son, and Bill Galt, who created the Good Earth Restaurant, and John Gray and Barbara, and Ken Blanchard from the 1 Minute Manager, and Marilyn Ferguson, who wrote the Aquarian Conspiracy. Today we have better conspiracy theories, I think, going around. But it was like, what if we could kind of take over with all this consciousness? And Wayne Dyer and Les Brown. It's funny, you showed the picture of Peggy Bassett. And I remember speaking at her Church of Religious Science with Mark Victor Hansen, myself, and Les Brown. And I remember Les saying to the audience, he said, you're watching the three of us go from local obscurity to national obscurity right before your eyes. I thought it was kind of funny, but all of us have gone on to have amazing careers. I was not well known back then. I had just come from running insight trainings and left that and started my own little Canfield, what we called it self-esteem seminars back then. And, it was amazing. And, we started the day at 5:30, 6:30 to 8:30, and we still got to work. And one of the things I've learned in my research recently, in the last year or two, I've written the books, forward to two books. One was called The Billionaire Secret by a guy named Raphael Badziag from Poland. He interviewed 21 billionaires. And another one called Homeless to Billionaire, a guy named Peirce Ray. And he was from Sweden, and he was at 19 in a beach in Phuket, living on the sand because he didn't have any money. He was totally homeless. And by the time he was 35, he was worth $3 billion. And he attributes all of that to The Secret, and my book, and Tony Robbins's books, and other books that people like us have written. And one of the things that all the billionaires said, his book and all the other 21 billionaires, and I didn't expect this, but they all got up before 5:30 a.m., which I found fascinating, being a night person. Secondly, they all read for at least an hour a day. Thirdly, they all meditated. And fourthly, they all exercised. So it was really interesting. So I've become more of a morning person actually in these later years based on that, and also my experience at the Inside Edge. And I remember going around to all the different chapters. I remember showing up at the one in the Valley, and I forgot my suit coat. And I thought, can I really do that? I was so into like how I looked back then. And I wore one tonight just out of respect for the award you guys were giving me. But we had about, I think, 500 members at that point. And I developed some of the closest friends I had back then. Barbara Angelis, Making Love Work, Susan Jeffers, Tim Piering. Tim Piering is one of the great experiential warrior teachers ever. He seems to have a black belt in everything. And I want to share, I have to tell a story about Tim, because Tim was co-leading a lot of groups with me for many years. He would come to my train to trainer program. He would share some great quote like he shared from Carlos Castaneda. And then he would lead us through this arrow breaking exercise. And before he came over to do that with my group, he said, you have to come to my office. It was out somewhere, east of LA. And I drove out there and he said, put this arrow in your neck. And then he had the other part was on the wall. And he said, I just want you to thrust forward and the arrow will break. And I went like, yeah, right. I actually chickened out. I don't know if you remember this, Tim. I didn't do it. I was sweating. I had water pouring off me like I was in a sauna, and I didn't do it. And then when we did it later in the workshop, I did do it. And before we were done, Tim actually held 2 arrows up and I broke 2 arrows at once. But those were major breakthroughs. But I have to share this one story. So some people don't remember, we all use, Zoom, and we've got, Keynote and PowerPoint. But many years ago, we used to use these things called overheads. And then they used to have like cardboard around them. And I would always teach with those because I like to have my outline would be my overheads. And Tim wanted to mess with me because he was trying to get me, I think, to be a little more spontaneous, a little less planned. So he comes up and I'm not looking before my talk. I got all my overheads there. And he pulled out about 20 overheads right out of the middle of my stack and just took them and hit them somewhere. And then, so I'm going along and I get to the next slide and I go, that something's missing here, but I didn't miss a bit. I just kept going. And I remember Tim coming up afterwards and say, well, okay, you did okay there. I thought I was going to get you, but I didn't. But he was always the trickster trying to catch you and do something like getting you to jump off, bridges and so forth. So, and I remember one more thing, Tim, with his, I don't know how many layers of black belt he had in karate. We were doing an album, literally, well, I'd say another thing before I did it. So this is my first audio album. You could see how much hair I had back then. Look at me today. It's like totally different. And this was cassettes. Like some people watching this don't even remember what cassettes were. And so we were doing another one for it was I think Nightingale Conant, career track one, Nightingale Conant. And we created something called a tri-sync integration tape, which was 3 voices. Tim was in one ear, I was in the other, and we had this female voice from a radio station in Chicago. And she was doing a 3rd voice. And the concept is all these voices are putting in these like NLP, hypnotic, and suggestions and affirmations about what you can be. And you can only listen to one and argue with it. And while you're arguing with it, the other 2 are going in unargued with. And so you're getting transformed. And so Tim's sitting there listening to the playback with his earphones. And I go up behind him and I tap him on the shoulder to kind of say, what do you think? And he literally jumped out of his chair and was in this karate pose within about a half a second, scared the hell out of me. But he, I just loved Tim so much. And I'll share one more story about Tim. Tim went and he did his first bungee jump. I think it was his first one, and he recorded it. He had a little tape recorder that he taped to his chest or whatever. And I remember he said, now I'm going to play the recording. And it was on the microphone at the inside edge. And all of a sudden you hear, oh, shit. I remember it was like, we were like, okay, Tim's human. He has feelings. But he was always like ahead of us doing the adventurous, and one of the edge I think we had was the outside adventure edge or whatever it was. And with a lot of things going on. So anyway, Tim, I haven't seen you in years. I love you, my friend. You were a huge influence in my life, and I continue to respect you and the work you do. What else can I share? So I talked about my first audio program, and that first audio program led me to doing many, many other audio programs. And I did that audio program in the Impact program, which you talked about. And what happened was that Barbara, the Angelis, and myself and Georgia, and I think maybe John at the time, I don't know whoever it was, but 4 of us went over there and we took the program. And my thing was to do my first audio program. And it was 21 days to get it done from start to finish, record it, design it, script it, get the color photo taken for the front, get it produced. And these coaches, Tim being one of them, is like, you'd be day 3 and they go, is it done yet? You go, are you kidding me? But they were on our butts, but I got it done. And that transformed my whole life in terms of being able to produce products. And now we have all kind of online programs and so forth. And the other story that's quite amazing out of the Inside Edge is, this is my Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And that was something that I decided I wanted to do. In fact, we carried it around before it was actually out as a idea on the Titanic when we had that Come As You'll Be party. And so I'm speaking at the Inside Edge. Mark comes up. He says, I want to speak with you afterwards and have a cup of coffee. So I go have a coffee with him. And he says, what are you up to? I said, I'm writing this book. He said, what's it about? I said, it's all inspirational stories, the kind we tell at the end of our talks to get standing ovations. He says, great. I'd like to write it with you. And I said, Mark, that's like telling, some great author who just written the great American novel. He's got like 5 pages to go. And you're going, I want to write it with you. I'm saying, why would I do that? And he said, well, it's because half the stories you tell, you stole from me anyway. I said, that's not true. There might have been 5. And he said, but I'm a better marketer than you are. If we paired up, it would really be great. You need more stories because I only had about 80. And he said, you have to have 101. So anyway, that happened at the Inside Edge. That was a partnership that's led to now 500 million books in print. It made me a multimillionaire. It's, been on all the New York Times bestsellers. We had I think 47 New York Times bestsellers. But that got all sourced also at the Inside Edge. So for me, that was another major breakthrough. And parties with a purpose. The Titanic party led to me. I never do a seminar now where we don't end with a Come As You'll Be party. It might be 2 hours, an hour. If it's a week-long training, everyone gets props and they show up and they bring all the stuff that we did. And that's become now some of my trainers. I have 4,000 certified Canfield methodology and success principles trainers. They are teaching that all over the world, Diana. And that's impacting so many people as a result of that. And then what else I want to say? Parties with a purpose in terms of personal. We started doing Christmas tree ornaments every year. Like you had to bring a new ornament and talk about what's your purpose for the next year, what's your commitment. And I remember my wife brought a spider web, and it was black. And I thought, on the Christmas tree, black spider web. And then she said, I want to create a new web of relationships next year. And that's what she worked on, relationships. So it was really cool for us to be doing that and continuing on and having all that kind of success. So I'm seeing Adam. Are you telling me I need to stop now?
I'm not going to stop you, Jack. This is wonderful.
Okay, it's fine. I just have a couple more comments I wanted to make. Also, Diana, she talked about cookbooks. One of the things we did together is we created a Chicken Soup for the Soul cookbook that Diana co-authored with us. All I did was show up at Diana's house basically and eat the recipe she was cooking, because all these people, they were celebrity authors, had to submit a story about a meal that really made a difference to them. And then we had the recipe. And then Diana would check them to make sure they weren't going to poison people. And then Mark and I would sit there and eat them. And we all edited the stories together. And with Barbara de Angelis, we wrote Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul. So many good things came out of that. I just wanted to acknowledge that as well. And I think I wanted to say one more thing. I actually had a note here. About
the TV show, was it?
Yeah. So what happened was, when we were doing the cookbook thing, basically Diana introduced us to Vin DeBona. And Vin DeBona had been someone that wanted to do a cookbook show with Diana and a cooking show. And so we got introduced through Diana to Vin DeBona. He was doing America's Funniest Home Videos. And a result of that, we ended up with a Chicken Soup for the Soul TV show. I don't know if you remember, Diana, Vin was not into it. We were in there proposing to Vin. And I forget the guy's name. He was Vin's partner. He walked in halfway through the meeting and he said how his kids loved the books and everything. And that's what got us to do the thing. But you introduced us to that. And we had all these Jack Lemmon and all these great artists actually did it was a half-hour show, like 3 segments, Chicken Soup for the Soul stories. And that was huge for building our brand and building the whole chicken soup movement as well. So anyway, eventually I moved to Santa Barbara. I couldn't come to the meetings anymore, but I am so thrilled that this has continued and it's made a difference in my life and the life of all the people I teach. And it's a thrill to see you again, Tim and Tom and all the different people, Barbara, who I see occasionally in Santa Barbara. But thank you so much. Thank you all. And all of you who are watching, if you're not a member of the Inside Edge, and now because of the fact that it's COVID and we can't have these live meetings, people are meeting coming from all over the world and joining. And so that's way cool. You can be anywhere if you're watching this and be part of this amazing, every week have great speakers and change your life. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I just wanted to say one last thing. This morning, my hair looked like Tom Sewell. I got my first haircut since COVID. Now I look like this. So anyway, you reminded me of that, Tom. Thank you.
Let's all clap for Jack.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's all clap for Jack. All right. Jack, following you is like, I think of you as the Michael Jordan of motivation. You are such a champion. Thank you for your part in this amazing journey. I want to invite all of you to grab a glass because we're going to celebrate a toast to the past. So it could be a cup, could be your pen or pencil cup, could be a wine glass, could be your favorite beer stein, but everybody take a moment and I'll make an announcement as you take 10 or 20 seconds to grab a glass. I want to tell you about something very exciting. The Inside Edge has announced a legacy project. It's an initiative to kind of content and this deep, rich, transformational history. And the goal is to post 100 of the best speaker videos from the last 35 years on YouTube and create podcasts and a history video, and your participation really counts. So to find out more about that, I invite you to go to the website. I want to give a shout out to some people who've been chatting and sharing and encouraging, people like Venus and Amy and Anne and Lori and Lisa and Dean White. You're all part of this phenomenal celebration. So now let's take a moment and we'll toast the past. Everybody raise your glass. We are grateful for this marvelous history. A toast to Inside Edge past. Cheers. Well, Diana, you are our shining light. I'm going to toss it back to you to tell us about some very special award winners from this year.
Yes, now we get to begin with our awards, which truly is the purpose of the whole evening together. First of all, I want to introduce two people. This is called our Partners in Leadership Award. And this goes to Allison, Larsen, and Gerald Rogers. And there's a picture of their award right there. They actually rescued us at the beginning of the COVID lockdown and all of that. We had to stop all of our in-person meetings and we had to get onto Zoom and we had to become really good at it. You know, I mean, Zoom is unlike standing on a regular stage. You don't have the energy of the other people in the room and you need to keep the people engaged and enthralled. And they took Robin and me and trained us for a long time on all the things that we could do to make it wonderful. And I've loved watching Gerald and Allison because they're truly giving, generous souls, and they hold all sorts of events all over the world. And people really show up in droves and they get how much in service they are and how pure they are. And I never begin a day without soul activation, which is something that they teach everybody to do. And it is the very best way to begin a day. So let's turn it over to Allison, Larsen, and Gerald Rogers.
Oh, thank you so much. We are so glad to be here. I can see we have some fans here. Lori and Linda brought our fan club with us. And we love what you are doing. So honored to be here. Jack, loved hearing from you, and Tim, everybody that's here. And we really, truly feel like we are on the shoulders of giants that have come before us in this industry. So thankful to be here.
I want to, for the moment that we have together, create an experience where we can share what the Inside Edge is really about, which is about connection, right? Taking moments where we can collectively come together and realize we're not just individuals fighting on our own, trying to change the world, but when we come together, we're so much stronger. And it's interesting because when COVID happened, all of us had to reinvent our worlds and our business. Mm-hmm. And with that, we had to get curious. Okay, how can we serve our purpose? How can we serve our mission? How can we come together, even though we might be separated for miles? And this evening is an example of that. As you scroll through all the different faces that are here, I just want you to pause and look at the way that these people are living their purpose and making a difference in the way that they've impacted yours. So in this moment, what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment to just slow down, and we're going to focus on seeing if we can open up our hearts and see if we can allow our heart energy to create heart coherence, to transcend time and space, to allow us to really feel connected to each other. And I'm going to play a song, and I'm going to be spotlighting different members of this incredible community. And as I do, I just want you to just imagine that you're sending energy straight through your hands into the hearts and souls of those that are being spotlighted.
Yeah, in fact, let's just rub our hands together here for a minute. And then just hold them apart a little bit. See if you can feel the energy of love resonating through your hands. If you're being spotlighted, your job is to receive all the love that this community has to give you. And if you aren't being spotlighted, just hold your hands up and send that person a little bit of love, because that's what the Inside Edge is about. That's why Diana's built this, what Jack just talked about. It's the connections that count.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some
Recognize the impact that each of the souls
feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction.
celebrate life.
Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my
Legacy that they've left on this.
It may be empty, or weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight in the arms of the angel. Fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are
A little bit more love. Open your heart a little bit more.
of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel.
We love you.
May you find some comfort here. So tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back. The storm keeps on twisting. You keep on building the lies that you make up for all that you lack. It don't make no difference. Escape one last time. It's easier to believe in this sweet madness, all this glorious sadness that brings me to my knees. In the arms of the angel, fly away
Look at these faces.
from this dark, cold hotel room,
Contribution.
and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort.
Find that straight line from your heart, the line that transcends,
You're in the arms
allows you to
of
feel and
the
receive
angel.
love fully.
May you find some comfort here.
Feel yourself strengthened by all these beautiful souls that are part of this journey. Yes. Oh my gosh. And in this moment, we just celebrate you. We celebrate the lives that you've lived, the legacies that you've created, and that you continue to spread upon the world. And in this moment, I want you to remember you're not alone. You're not alone. And I just want to extend so much gratitude to Diana.
What would I do?
Extend gratitude to Diana and for Robin and for all of those that have been the legacy leaders of this Inside Edge. And I just have so much gratitude as we continue to share this message with the world. So just sending you love, and I'm going to turn the time back over to you. Just everyone give yourselves a big round of applause.
Love you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Allison and Gerald. Wow, if that doesn't light your fire, your wood is wet. Amazing. I think when Ted came on the screen a moment ago, my heart almost like leapt through my Zoom screen. That was such a beautiful, beautiful time. Thank you again. And so now Diana will announce the next award, the People's Choice Award, given to the most popular speaker of the year. This selection is based on the most attendance and membership vote. Diana?
Oh, and I am so absolutely thrilled to present this award to the beautiful Barbara Angelis. She was always one of our favorite speakers. She would show up at the Inside Edge. She would be so clear. I mean, it was like she was like this clear channel, so centered, so empowering. And her career over these years, her books are just absolutely magnificent. I have one that I think I've underlined every single page, which is kind of silly, but that's how important that book was to me. And she's been a great guide in this world. She has a huge following and a huge heart. Let's all give a wonderful, warm Inside Edge welcome to Dr. Barbara Angelis.
Thank you, my beautiful soul sister, my fellow Pisces sister. Thank you for this beautiful award. I'm really, really privileged to receive it. More than the actual award, all of the love and the vision that's contained inside of it. And I'm really honored to be here with Jack and with all of the other winners. My original mentor, Tim, who also had me create my first cassette book after that few weeks. And of course, mostly and always you, Diana. There are very special places in the world that people experience, not just as special, but as holy. Magnificent places of worship, ancient ruins of lost civilizations, creations in nature that we visit, centuries old temples that pulsate with mantras and rituals. And all of these places have one thing in common. They vibrate with the sacred. We experience them when we're there as sacred. They're a sanctuary from every day, a healing refuge of reverence from what is often, as we all know too well, the roughness of life, the roughness of the world. And these places, their very existence pulsates with an elevated vibration of the unseen truth, the promise of something invisible that calls to a deep, deep place within us. And in this way, all sacred places, I believe, act as mystical doorways into transformation because they possess a kind of mysterious alchemy, because their vibration somehow resonates with the highest in you, so that when you just enter, just being there, the highest in you begins to reveal itself. And those things that are not the highest in you begin to recede and be pushed to the side. So sacred places inspire us to transcend whatever we falsely believed were our limitations. And the vibration of the sacred invites the sacred wholeness within each of us to rise up. And by doing this, it accelerates our personal journey of awakening. I share this because for as long as I can remember, like many of you, I've been a seeker. And when I was 18 years old, I was very blessed to find my spiritual teacher and spend many years in very exquisite sacred environments that led me higher and higher. And when I emerged from this in my mid-20s, I understood that the job of a teacher is exactly what I just described and what I long to do, to somehow create with vision, with wisdom, with welcoming, and most of all with love, a sacred environment, a place in which students could experience rebirth, revelation, renewal, and remembrance, and an experience of being in a soul gathering where people can be seen, where they can be heard, where they can remember that they're not alone on their journey, and when they can be celebrated for shining by others. We're all here tonight because of two great beings who also had such a vision and created a sacred place of rebirth, revelation, renewal, and remembrance for all of us, including me, called the Inside Edge. Diana and Paul recognized and understood that there is a fire of brilliance and magnificence within each of us. And like when you want to build a blazing fire, you move the individual logs that are hot with coals closer together so that the heat can ignite the other logs. When we come close together in bodies, in hearts, or even just in spirit, our beautiful individual flames of wisdom and creativity and service and love rise up even higher. So in being honored, I want to honor our twin source flames for starting the sacred fire, and Diana for stoking that fire with her exquisite heart, her passion, her unwavering purpose, unmatched really by anybody. And I am truly honored and grateful to be here to celebrate the glorious blaze of light that I absolutely know has emanated from each of you from 35 years ago all the way forward out to the world, who've been part of the Inside Edge over the years. Yesterday, as I was thinking about this, it dawned on me that 35 years ago, when the Inside Edge was born, I was actually 35 years old. Yes, you could tell because of the shoulder pads and the hairstyle you saw. 35 years old, but my heart was so full of the longing to fulfill the ancient and sacred promise that I knew I'd made to Spirit to somehow serve humanity with love, to somehow find ways that were yet unknown to me to inspire people, to guide people, to help other people rise in more love. At that time, I never could have imagined how much my longing was going to be fulfilled. I'd yet to even write one book or be on television or even find the vehicles through which to offer what was in my heart. But like so many of you in the sacred womb of the Inside Edge, I was born into my future self. I was seen, I was cheered on, and I found incredible fellow travelers. So in this short time I have to share with you, my highest prayer is this: may each of us be a living legacy of the Inside Edge and of all of our teachers and guides. May you commit every day to what I believe is our true purpose, to live as the most awakened, loving human being you can be. And may you be a true sacred space, a sanctuary of love, of compassion, of blessings for everyone you know and everyone you encounter. And in this way, humbly serve to uplift the world. Thank you, Diana, for being what makes all of us feel happy to have come to Earth and know that we are in the right place, to find each other and to know we're in the right place, for always loving me through all of my changes and transformation, for seeing me, for being with me and all of us in our hearts. I love you, and you are a treasure that I've discovered in this body, in this incarnation. And I bless you and Teddy and everybody who is helping to spread the light in the world that is so needed.
Let's all clap for Barbara. Let's all clap for Barbara. Wow. Wow. I'm going to say it again backwards. Wow. If you look up the word inspiring in the dictionary, it says, see Barbara DeAngelis. That was amazing. Thanks again, Barbara. And now Diana will announce the next award. This is probably my favorite, the most entertaining speaker. And again, this is based on member feedback. Diana.
Oh, I'm so speechless for what Barbara just said. This is absolutely the most wonderful event that I can ever imagine in my life right now. The Inside Edge meetings in the morning always ended with some kind of beautiful entertainment. We had singers, we had a mime, and once in a while we'd have somebody who was really funny. And my favorite entertainer of that time is with us today. He spoke to us. He has a new book actually that he's written with Bruce Lipton, who's such a famous person, on spontaneous evolution. And I believe he's coming in one of his two personas. So I think that we are welcoming Swami Bhayandananda, also known as Steve Bhaerman.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And here, by the way, is the actual award. I'm holding it up. I'm looking through it. And I have to say, I am tremendously honored. You gave me a great opportunity this year because I want to tell you something. Doing comedy without an audience, they have medication for that, right? Okay, so you gave a great opportunity, and the interactivity that we had at this wonderful event really made me come alive and remember that I've been coming to the Inside Edge for well over 30 years. And the first time I came there, I mean, imagine, I'm just starting out Swamiing, right? The Inside Edge welcomes an edgy outsider. I was very happy. First time I walked into the Beverly Hills Hotel, and it has been wonderful. And to see that video right at the beginning of your citizen diplomacy, I saw two of my fellow cosmic comic consciousness purveyors. There was, of course, Norman Cousins and Patch Adams, who has helped millions of people around the world open their clown chakra. You've seen that. And Norman Cousins, of course, he actually, many years before that, he was diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. And instead of going to the hospital, he went to a hotel room with Marx Brothers movies and candid camera reruns, and he got well. He wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness. And when he cured himself through comedy, the medical establishment decided that they are going to study the healing power of laughter, which is kind of like, well, it works in practice, but does it work in theory? And when they discovered the physiology of laughter, they found that when we laugh, it creates these hormones called endorphins, our natural painkillers. Laughing improves our immune function, and laughter lowers the blood pressure, because when we laugh, it causes our blood vessels to dilate, which is far better than having them die early. That is my ambition, right? And so this was a great opportunity to see these people in citizen diplomacy many years ago. And guess what? We need citizen diplomacy right here, right now. Recent show, somebody asked me, Swami, how can we create peace in the Middle East? I said, well, I'll tell you something. First, we need to create peace in the Middle West. We need to bring that peace to ourselves. We have a new opportunity. You know, there was so much tension around this election. People on this side going, it's going to be the end of the world. People on that side going, it's going to be the end of the world. Well, guess what? We are about to experience the beginning of the world, the beginning of a new world. You know, this is actually, believe it or not, the age of Aquarius. And we've had to go through the age of nefarious in order to get here, but we are actually technically right in that point where we are actually ready to have that love actually be manifest. Now, it may not seem that way, but we are so ready to do that. We have, even and despite the deep divisions that we have, there's a sense of unity. There's a sense that people want to wake up together. And so as part of what is going on, I am predicting that there's going to be a great uprising. You know, back in the old days when people were dissatisfied, be a revolutionary uprising to overthrow the system. Now we need an evolutionary upwising to overgrow. Upwising, where we wake up, wise up, grow up, and show up. We wake up to the illusion of separation. We wake up to the illusion of divide and conquer, where we get divided into these two separate tribes. We need to bring both tribes together, red tribe and blue tribe together, to sit in sacred circle and talk until we're purple in the face. And then we wise up loving, because love is more powerful than fear. Otherwise, we'd be singing, all you need is fear. We're not singing that. That is a good sign. We need to grow up. We need to grow upward in our wisdom. You know, I appreciate so much about the Inside Edge is that you've provided us with being around so many heavy-duty light workers. A lot of those people to help us expand our minds, to help us expand our visions, to help us bring love and laughter to life, and to grow up as we grow upward in wisdom, from children of God to adults of good. And then finally, to show up on a new playing field, ready to play a new game. Off the battlefield, onto a new playing field where we play the game, thrival for all, right? We are all in this together. We have to overcome this long history of ruled by the lowest common denominator. Because we have lived, let's face it, we have lived by those rules. Instead of the golden rule, it's been overruled by the rule of gold, which is do unto others before they can do unto you. And so that has left us with a lot of residue to deal with. And so our question right now that we all have to address and answer, can we undo the doo-doo that has been done? Or will the done doo-doo be our undoing? So to help us along, I am reviving something I started years ago. I have a new political party called the Right to Laugh Party. Right to Laugh, one big party, everyone is invited. Just bring your gift. And that is the new world that we're talking about. Now, again, the world is in serious condition, largely because of our conditioning to be serious. And so what we need to do is we need to overcome gravity with levity. We need to rise to the higher perspective and see if we want to deal with the deep state, we have to deal with the deeper state of love and connection. And so to do that, we are going to need to raise the laugh force on the planet. So I am asking in this time for everybody to take a vow of levity. All those willing to take a vow of levity, please rise. And repeat with me these words: all for fun and fun for all.
Fun for all.
May the farce be with you, and may the Inside Edge continue to be insidely edging its way toward a true new edge reality for a long time to come. Namaste.
Namaste.
Let's all clap for Steve. That was incredible.
All right.
Oh, that was so good. Steve, thank you so much. It does our hearts so good to laugh like that. You know, as a comedian, for me, during the pandemic, it's been challenging times. You know, my wife and I, we weren't sure how we were going to handle it economically. And so we just made this decision. We sat our kids on the couch and we just told them straight up, we just said, we're going to have to let one of you go. Well, I'm joking about that, but Steve, I'm not joking when I say that was fantastic. And I want to give shout outs to some of our chatting friends like Jack and Craig and Harry and Marilyn and Annika. Thank you so much. And I invite you to continue chatting through our celebration. Now, Diana, will you announce for us our next award, Most Inspiring Speaker, again, selected based on member feedback? Diana.
Oh, this is such a pleasure. I can't tell you. Have you ever walked into a bookstore and suddenly found a book that practically leaps off the shelf to you? That happened to me one rainy day in Santa Monica. And I went into this bookstore, and on the very bottom shelf of my favorite section, there was a thick pink book that was just flashing, pick me, pick me. And I picked it up and opened it up, and I thought, oh my gosh, this writer really gets what it is to be a woman. It was called Simple Abundance. And this book, I took it home, I just sat in my chair for days and underlined all of the pages because there was an essay for every single day that was so insightful, so beautifully written, and not only connected me to the author, who I felt really got women purely, but to all the other women in the world, because she's so exemplified what we know and we feel as nurturers and people who strive to really help the world. So that book was not only flashing at me, it was beginning to flash at people all over the country. And fortunately, it picked me at Oprah, and Oprah had Sarah Ban Breathnach on her show long before her book club began. And she featured her on one of her shows, and Simple Abundance went on to publish 5 to 7 million all over the world in different languages and all of that. It recently had its 25th anniversary, and Sarah spent a whole year revising that book, adding 120 pages, bringing it into the present world where technology didn't even exist when she first wrote it. And it is even more profound than ever. And I just couldn't live without that book right next to my bedside. So it is the deepest honor that I give the award for most inspiring speaker to the beautiful, eloquent, divine Sarah Ban Breathnach.
You were one of the first women to write me. When Simple Abundance was first published. And your letter helped me realize that that I had made the connection that I had wanted to. Virginia Woolf, who spoke as she wrote before many of her books were published, said that for a speaker, what you really wanted to do was to leave every listener with one thought that they could write down and put on their mantle and think about for a week. And I so thank you for this beautiful award, which I will be putting on my mantle to remind me that in the beginning of the world was the Word, and how precious the Word is today, and how we can hardly save the world if we can't save our words. This has been a really difficult time in the last year for millions of people. It's been sorrowful, it's been shocking, it's been tumultuous, and we can feel so isolated. One of the absolutely marvelous things, though, that has happened is when we used to go out to hear people or hear about books or meet like-minded, like-hearted people or find inspiration, we had to go out. Well, we've been forced back in, or we've been enclosed back in. It seems to have been a boundary of the heart as well as the soul and the mind. And that means that we're making deeper connections, even though they're very different. One of the things that I have been very interested in the last decade has been the idea of starting over. What does it mean to start your life over? Because that's what we're being asked on every level of our soul and our society. We're being asked, we're being told, you need to start over. And for me, reaching into the lives of women from the past has really been my sustenance. We're not the only women that have endured difficult, heartbreaking, sorrowful, challenging times, survived them, and started over again. I think of our Native American mothers, and I think of our Pilgrim mothers, and the pioneer mothers, women on the wagon trains. And I think of the enslaved African women who became free, proud African Americans. I think of the Wild West immigrant homesteaders, and the migrant Hispanic women, the European and Russian Jewish refugees, Asian mothers crossing the Pacific. And I think of my own Irish Nana Rose, who came from Ireland during a time of civil war with a baby in one arm, a suitcase in the other, and her dreams in her heart. It helps me to remember that to be one woman is to be all women, because we all share the same DNA, which is our destiny, our nature, and our aspirations. We have a genetic code of courage, ingenuity, creativity, perseverance, and determination. But we forget that when we have a daily shrinking of our life, our society, our heart. But we've been endowed with something that I call spiritual moxie. And spiritual moxie is a deep reserve of steely determination, stubborn faith, and inexhaustible courage, which have been saved in small time capsules, I think of them, in the heart, the recesses of our heart, where, like the giant, beautiful sequoia trees, they're released in the ashes of the life that we knew before. And divine grace always knew that we would come to this place. We didn't. But here we are, and we do have this inner resource. I wish that I could say that I thought spiritual moxie, you could just switch it on. Certainly, I think I've learned it's otherwise. And I've learned from the lives of the women that I so admire over centuries, who became heroines, icons, inspiration, that they did that after they had come to the end, after they had thought all was lost and their life was a loss and their dreams were ashes. And they had to give up or get up, one more step. And when you see hundreds of women that we admire through history, it was because of that next step. And that is the message that I want to share, and that you have made possible, Diana, and in the Inside Edge, because we can talk to each other and we can share from the heart and we can be real. This last year has stripped away the pretense. perhaps for the first time, we can really be beautifully honest with ourselves, and both inwardly and outwardly, and make the connection that everything in our life is a source of reconnection, reflection, and revelation. Bravery becomes you. And I just want to thank you, Diana, for creating this beacon, this safe harbor where we can be renewed by being with each other. So here's to the Inside Edge Foundation, but here really most inspiring woman, most inspiring speaker, to Diana. Thank you for your generosity of spirit, which has nurtured us all. Gloriana, hallelujah. Blessings on your courage as we go forth.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Let's applaud for Sarah. That was magnificent. What a powerful, powerful message. Well, Diana, this has been unbelievable. I mean, like the Swami took us from ha-ha to aha, and I see you there with Ted at Kodak Theater. This is better than the Academy Awards. And so can you tell us about our next special award?
Yes, I will do that right now. And this goes to Penney Peirce. Penney Peirce was completely new to me this year. Here's her award. She was our most enlightening speaker. I had not known of Penney before. Robin, who's the lighthouse keeper, told me about her and her books, her book Frequency. Oh, that was something I always knew, and yet I never had words for. And her book Transparency, which is what really is happening to all of us as we're in lockdown. All of frivolous is falling away, and there's no choice except to become completely transparent. Penney is just a divine speaker, and she has a wonderful newsletter that you can subscribe to and get a daily inspiration. Please welcome Penney Peirce.
All right, thank you, Diana. And yes, my first year to be involved here, and I must say everybody took super duper care of me. I felt very welcome. I have been writing about and thinking about and delving into the process of intuition development, expanded perception, and that led me into understanding a lot about what is transformation anyway. You know, our whole reality is shifting, our whole perception is changing. All kinds of things are happening to us that are going to change both our reality and our identity. It's an incredibly exciting thing. And just as I was thinking what I was going to say tonight, I remembered this dream I had about 25 years ago, maybe, where I was being told by a healer, a man who'd been working on the East Coast in a business suit. And he said, you know, those suits are really solid, meaning it was very hard to get through to them. And I said, oh, I know what you mean. And he says, he looks over at me and he looks at me, he says, well, you're right on schedule. And I looked down and my left arm was transparent. And when I saw that, I remembered that this was this powerful time to be alive, that there was going to be an event. And in my dream, it was called the void. And in that experience of the void, time would stop, but you wouldn't know how long it stopped because time would have stopped. It was like a pause where you almost like shifted out of the left brain and into the present moment entirely. And you would, you know, almost like leave and go out into the higher realms, and then you'd be back, but you wouldn't know anything had happened. And that during that time, there would be a bifurcation on the planet, and that the people who came back, who had been transparent, they wouldn't have known anything had happened. They would come back to a high frequency reality. People who were not of a high frequency reality would not come back, but they would go to a planet of their own vibration. So there'd be like a kind of splitting of the planet in a way, but a parallel worlds. Nobody would suffer. But I had this instantaneous memory that, oh my God, I've been living all my lifetime, so I could be here now and go through this thing, that it's going to be so cool. You know? And that has motivated me a lot. I think it is been happening now for a while. It's not an overnight instantaneous thing, but I feel like 2020 was a real crux of this thing. Almost as though I were already in the future looking back at how are we going to get this transformation to happen? Oh yes, COVID, yes, that'll be a perfect mechanism to get people to go inside and stop being so fragmented and, you know, develop global consciousness. And it feels like the political situation and so many things are actually on purpose, which, I mean, it's awful. And it's exciting times, but it's also chaotic. But I feel like there's a part of the process we're going through now where the spiritual realm is coming into the physical realm because our physical reality has accelerated year after year after year after year. Our bodies have accelerated, everything's going faster, and we're kind of entering this huge present moment that has swallowed up the past and the future. Everything is here now. And that means that all events are in us, all potential events are in us, every frequency is in us. There is no outside world. And this is the beginning of the shift of this consciousness that we're going to be going through. And I know a lot of you are in it, you know, and have been seeing it yourselves. But there is a, you know, as the physical and spiritual match up in frequency more and more, we start to see that spirit is inside matter. Also, that soul is inside the body and inside the personality as the personality. I'm here. I don't have a soul. I don't have a soul. I am a soul. And I'm here right now. You know, we don't separate things anymore in this new reality. Anyway, usually I write an oracle letter every year since 2010. I try to tune into what I think is going to be happening for the year. And last year I wrote about, and I usually pick a word. And so last year the word was bifurcation. And what I saw was this great polarization happening and more oppositions coming to the point where we would think we were in two different realities, that one group would never not be able to see the other reality at all, and that this was you know, a step toward this breakthrough, let's call it. This year when I tuned in, I could feel that the polarization was going to make the first part of the year really, you know, like sloshing waves, like crazy. But then I felt it smooth out and start to integrate, and things calmed down quite a bit. And the word I got was rebirth for this year, which seems hopeful, but I think it's realistic too. That I think Sarah said something about, you know, start your life over again or something. And this I feel is quite true, that the beginning of last year, I felt so excited about the year, like my scope was going to expand and I would travel, I'd be all over, you know, do all this stuff. And then COVID hit and then everything canceled. So the expansion of scope was internal. And what that looked like was a kind of clearing of my aura, let's call it. Like I lost my story. I didn't care about telling my story so much anymore. I didn't even know who I was some days, and I didn't care. And it's just, you know, it's just a presence kind of thing. And almost like if people were trying to read me, I wouldn't have any pictures in my aura. like it just was nothing there. Then that started to be interesting because it allowed all kinds of new things to start showing up very serendipitously without me using any willpower at all. And this whole thing of trusting the flow started happening, which was amazing. And many of the universal principles that I used to mouth and talk about, I actually started to really experience it deeply as truth. So it was actually, it was a huge expansion of scope. I still think, though, that we are now in what I've been calling the bridge time, where a lot of us are waking up, really waking up. Some people are just waking up. Some people aren't waking up at all because it's too scary. So there are people at all different levels at this point. And it's a challenge to stay centered in what I call your home frequency, or that soul in the body, or soul as the personality state of being. But we have to really work on that right now, is to just stay very centered, very present, choose our, I always liken it to a tuning fork. They go ding, and it's your frequency of your happy self or your best self. Strike that tuning fork, run it through your field, live in it, and let other people come into it and feel it so that they can start to feel their own. But it's so easy to get knocked off center by the drama of the news and people's fears and all the people dying. And we have to see through that, into a deeper process that's going on that I feel is like unbelievable. It's never happened on Earth before. And we are incredibly lucky to be able to be physical during this process. There are, I think, billions of souls, and I've seen the Earth packed in with these billions of souls that have come around the planet to watch what's going to happen here. But they're not physical. We are. We get to actually go through it, which is incredible. So I have great hope for this year. I think we're going to start seeing sort of magical things happen. Like the more we get into this state of spirit in the body, spirit in matter, all in the present moment, we're going to start to have things like instantaneous healing. We're going to start to feel that when you're in your home frequency, and that is the vibration of your field, other people will just start to materialize out of that field who are of the same vibration. This is like your inside edge, that I call it the convening. But that you're not attracting these people. They're not out there anywhere. They're all in the field. I'm in their field, they're in mine. The common vibration is allowing them to emerge in each other's fields. And each one has a puzzle piece for a project or some kind of work that wants to be done. And we want to do it together, not so much to make a lot of money necessarily, but that's fine, but more because we just want to work together with like-minded people because it's fun. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And here is my beautiful thing, which I'm going to just, keep feeling this. Thank you all so much.
Let's all applaud for our friend Penny. Thank you, Penny. All right. Well, Penny spoke beautifully about that, striking that note. And the word keynote actually goes back to the concept of an orchestra leader who would strike a keynote and then all the other musicians would join in together. And we have a leader like that today with Robin, our president. And so Robin, I want to ask you a few questions as we look toward the future. What is next? What's the next chapter for the Inside Edge in 2021?
Oh, thank you so much, Adam. It is an exciting look forward for us. We really took on that challenge of shifting a lot last year, but there were things we couldn't do in the stream of everything moving so fast. And this year, we're going to really put some more pieces of our puzzle back together for all of our members and guests. And some of those things will be, we'll still continue our famous and unique speaker forum events coming monthly, but we're also going to have a deeper dive into more community forum conversation events every month. We also are bringing back the very popular sub-edges, which is our forum of interest groups. So many books have come out of our writer's edge. That's coming back. We have a healing edge. We have other things. So you can learn all about this in a membership preview. We've got a lot of cool things happening. So there's this opportunity. And also the other way you can figure it out is to go to our brand new website that we're just launching this week. So
you mentioned deeper dive. Even when we have a celebration gala, it's a deeper dive, isn't it, Robin? It's just fantastic.
yeah, here's a picture of our website. And at the bottom of this, I'll ask Rebecca to scroll down so you can see that we have all of the award-winning talks from all of the award winners today here in our featured speakers area. And you can click on that and see the whole hour presentation. So any of you, if you missed it, that will be fun for everybody. And lots
Robin,
of information and how to sign up.
Well, I really want to point out that Robin has been the lighthouse keeper of the Inside Edge in a way that I've never seen anybody take on before. And she has created so much community and feeling of connection among all of us that it's just the most empowering year that I can ever remember that we've had. I will look at what Robin was supposed to be doing here and try to move through this. We have 3 new speakers that are coming up in 2021. Can we show Rebecca the promos for those people? Yeah, there's a wonderful new Oracle deck called What Would Love Do? It is so beautiful, and it asks the most wonderful questions. And what a question to live in anyway. What would love do is, to me, a perfect question for the beginning of every single day. This is Star Layden, and she'll be with us. She's worked for years on these beautiful Oracle cards. And who else do we have? Oh yes, this is an amazing woman that Harry Mullin brought to us. This is Sarah Khan. And she is going to talk about peace-mongering. As you can see, she's Muslim, and she's going to be talking about what it is to be Muslim and how we can really understand the differences and really come together with these people. And as I said, we're going to have Steve Bhaerman and Bruce Lipton, who they are just absolutely amazing. We are now opening the doors to all the new speakers for the whole year. I'm hoping that Robin's going to come back and rescue me from this.
I am back, Diana.
Good.
But I don't know. I'm sorry. So sorry. That was an inopportune time to have the connection.
That's okay. We embrace the chaos.
Yes, we do that. We do that very well at Inside Edge. And you can keep going. I just want to make sure we let people know about some of the upcoming events. So
we did do that. We're at the place where who makes all this happen and the board members and all of that.
Yes.
Okay, then great. I'm glad I could come back because this is my most favorite part of the night. Mm-hmm. We have a surprise. We have a surprise award for one of our members. Every so often we give a Lifetime Achievement Award to one of our beautiful members. And tonight it is going to be somebody that we all love very much. And it's a surprise because you'll see here, it's a Lifetime Luminary Award. And it's going to Diana von Welantz Wentworth. She didn't have any.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
So I think we all feel like you should be getting an award. And instead of saying a lifetime achievement, we felt like you really are our lifetime luminary, from our founder to program director to advisor to cheerleader to fundraiser. You have done it all. No matter what role you play, you are a beacon. You are a guiding light for all of us. And we just so love you. And we hope that you can help us keep stoking the fire now going forward. Diana's staying on as our program director in 2021, and we've got some amazing, wonderful things planned. So we love you very much. Everybody, please clap and tell her how much we love Diana. So back to you, Adam.
Okay, Robin, thank you so much. And Diana, it's hard to describe the impact that you've had on people. I think you have a little glimpse into it, but I don't think you know how it's echoed around the world. And so thank you, thank you. I want to remind everybody to check out the new website with the videos and the award-winning talks for 2020 and follow the Inside Edge and join in on these fun adventures. And we want to invite more and more people to make history in 2021 and beyond. And so I started off this evening with a couple of hearts, and they magically connected together. But what's really been happening for 35 years is even more powerful than that. It's uniting many, many hearts together. Blessings to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful celebration. Let's all applaud.
And let's applaud for Adam. Yay, Adam, our wonderful host.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Blessings to everyone.
Blessings to everybody. See you guys in 2021 for a lot more fun and a next generation of the transformational leaders of the world getting together.
And a whole new gang of members that we can get to know and support. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody.
Good night.